Thanks for taking my question. I wanted to ask about the labor market. Do you see things such as in the beige book, you saw in the beige book anecdotes about businesses not able to find workers, back to the labor market for fear of getting sick, childcare concerns, and so forth. Do you see these as also just sort of temporary bottlenecks that won't have much effect on the long-term health of the labor market? Or how are you thinking about these kinds of issues?
Chris, you were breaking up a little there, but I think I did get your question. So, yeah, I think there are a number of things going on there. The tension between a high level of unemployment and yet many companies saying they can't find, an elevated number of companies saying that they can't find workers. So what's really going on there? It should be a number of different things. There are workers who don't actually have the specific skills that the employers are looking for. There may be geographical differences. It may also be that, for example, one big factor would be schools aren't open yet, so there's still people who are at home taking care of their children and would like to be back in the workforce, but can't be yet. There are people afraid of there are virus fears that are weighing on people, so some people don't want to go back to work. There are also a significant number of people who say they've retired, a large number of people that say that they're retired. Now, it's hard to say whether they will come back in as the labor market strengthens and as COVID becomes in the rearview mirror in the history books, if you will. So, but clearly there's something going on out there as many companies are reporting labor shortages. We don't see wages moving up yet, and presumably we would see that in a really tight labor market, and we may well start to see that. I do think, so what will happen, what we saw during the last expansion, and it may be a different expansion, we don't know, but what we saw was that labor supply generally showed up. In other words, if you were worried about running out of workers, it seemed like we never did. The labor force participation held up. People came in the labor force. They stayed in the labor force longer than expected. So my guess would be that you will see people coming back into the labor force, and these jobs will be, the labor market will reach equilibrium. Maybe pay will go up, but I do think that, and I do think also the unemployment insurance benefits will run out in September. So to the extent that's a factor, which is not clear, it will no longer be a factor fairly soon. So my guess is that we'll come back to this economy where we have, equilibrium between labor supply and labor demand. It may take some months, though.
Thank you.